Hi everyone, and I hope you are enjoying the course so far. We are now moving on to Lesson 6, and in Lesson 6 we're going to be talking about the two tools that will enhance any coaching session regardless of the sport being played. Now these two tools, for those that don't know, are both cooperation and competition. So the rest of the lesson will talk about how these two types of play styles, which are cooperation and competition, can be factored into your coaching session in order to maximize engagements of your audience. Now let's first start with cooperation. Now simply put, cooperation is a process of working together for the same objective. So you have a group of people and they're working for a common goal. Now you're probably thinking, well, when would I use cooperation in my coaching session? Now let me explain to you when you would use it. Now cooperation or cooperative drills or activities where you have a group of people working for the same objective would be best suited when the clients you are coaching are shy or new to the sport. Because cooperation can improve communication and it can reduce that initial awkwardness, when you have a group of people, rather than putting them into a more competitive context where they don't feel comfortable, allowing them to cooperate together really improves the communication and reduces any barriers. Also, when the clients enjoy cooperation but disregard competition, so you may have times where your clients don't enjoy competing against each other, but they rather work as a team. Now in that case, the drills and the activities you run in your coaching session will be more tailored towards a more cooperative style approach rather than a competitive. And finally, when you are implementing or teaching a new skill or technique that the clients are not familiar with. So if you're trying to teach a new skill or technique, you would not put your clients into a competitive aspect because they're new to the technique, they feel uncomfortable, it's not natural. Rather, allowing them to work in a cooperative environment will better improve these skills as they feel more comfortable, as they're not influenced by the elements of competition. Now moving on to competition. Now competition is when the main objective of the activity is to gain or win something by defeating or establishing superiority over somebody. So it's pretty much the exact opposite of cooperation. Everyone's to themselves. Now, when would you use a competitive style in your coaching session? Well, first of all, when the clients you are coaching are naturally competitive and enjoy that type of style. So sometimes the audience you have or the audience that you are coaching naturally enjoy competition. They have an edge for competition. They love the thrill of it. They love competing against each other. They love winning. They love losing. In that case, throwing in competitive drills and activities will definitely meet and satisfy those desires and improve engagement levels, of course. Secondly, when the clients seem bored and need a sense of competition to become more engaged. So sometimes during your coaching session, for whatever reason, it might be too hot, it might be too cold, they might not be happy. Your audience, they lose focus, they're not interested anymore and they lose engagement. Now, throwing in a competitive drill, all of a sudden, sparks them. The engagement goes up. Why? Because all of a sudden there's a sense of winning. They want to win, they don't want to lose. Therefore, engagement goes back up. So that's another instance where you might want to use a competitive style. And finally, you can use a competitive style when you want to add pressure to a skill or technique. Now, I'll only recommend this once your client understands the technique, practices it, and is used to the technique. In that case, adding competition whilst focusing on that skill technique adds the element of pressure and further improves their ability to execute that skill or technique. I will now provide you with some real-life video examples demonstrating both competition, cooperation, and also both used at the same time. Now let's start off with competition. Now before I play this video, the sport being played is basketball and the skill being focused on is dribbling. Now as you can see, everybody is in a confined space. Everyone is also dribbling a basketball. The objective of this game is to dribble your basketball while staying in the square, but also to knock out your opponent's basketball out of the square. If you manage to knock out their ball, then the opponent's out and you remain in. As you can probably make sense of, there's only going to be one winner and the rest losers. Now let's play the video. So as you can see, engagement is already maximized because you have to be alert at all times. If you're not, then you lose, you get your ball knocked out. So this brings back to my point of how competition can improve engagement, as you always have to be alert in order to win. So as you can see, people are trying to attempt to knock out the balls. You have to be alert at all times. Now that's an example of a competition drill. Now let's move to cooperation. Now moving on to cooperation, we're still playing the same sport, which is basketball. However, we've changed the skill being focused on. The skill now being focused on is shooting rather than dribbling. So as you can see, there's 3 people here, which is one group. I've made 3 different groups, 3 people in each group. Now, the aim of this game is to shoot as many baskets as you can in the hoop amongst the 3 of you. So you're working together as one team to shoot as many baskets as you can. You have 2 minutes on the clock, and you have to count your score as a team. The coach doesn't score. The coach doesn't count your score. So as you can see, the element of cooperation is added here because they are now working for a common goal, and the common goal in this case is to get the highest score, because once you're finished, the next group will go, and the team that has the highest score wins. So let's play the video. So as you can see, they are now working together as a group. They're no longer competing against each other. They're working together as a group to get as many baskets as they can in the 2-minute time limit. And even more interesting, I like to add an element of communication by making them count out the baskets rather than the coach, and that improves the pathways of communication more effectively, really. Now, a quick example of how you can add both cooperation and competition in the same drill, which is very effective in maximizing engagement, is in this case, let's take this drill. So I've got one group here trying to get as many baskets as they can in 2 minutes. Now, that's the cooperative aspect. Now, adding competition can be in the form of comparing your score between different groups. So I'll make another 2 or 3 groups, I'll let them go, and then the competition aspect is added by having to achieve a higher score than the other group. So as you can see that we're trying to blend in both cooperation and competition in the same drill in order to maximize your audience engagement.